Progressive presents Adjusting to the Suburbs.
It never dawned on me how much walking I used to do until I bought a house in the suburbs. Like when I'd say, I'm going for coffee, of course I was walking, but now it's like 3 miles and no latte's worth that. I find myself inviting people on walks with me like it's a scheduled activity. This morning, my neighbor asked me what I'm doing, and I actually said, I'm going for a walk with Nancy.
Anyway, when you save with Progressive by bundling your home and auto, that's the easy part of adjusting to the suburbs. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company. Coverage provided and serviced by affiliates and third-party insurers.
Community in a meaningful way. Cares for Kids is a Keller Williams Realty-founded charity in which 100% of money raised goes directly to children in need in our area. Cares for Kids helps fund local organizations like Angel's House, Coweta Casa, Elevate, and more. Help Cares for Kids reach their mission of serving 1 million children. Call 678-634-9770 today to learn more on how to be involved, or text K4K Noonan to 44321 to donate.
The views and opinions of this show and program are not the views and opinions of this station, its management, or its clientele.
This is Jared Rutledge of the Columbus River Dragons, your home for River Dragons hockey in Noonan.
Hey y'all, you're listening to the Raven in Real Life radio show and podcast on WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key, the heartbeat of Metro Atlanta.
Hey you guys, and welcome back to the Raven in Real Life radio show and podcast. I am so glad that you are here with me, and today I have a very special guest, Miss Melinda Weeks Newton, aka the Chicken Lady.
Yes.
Yay! So we're going to get into that, of how you got that name, a little bit about your background, but thank you so much for coming on here with me. And how are you doing today?
I am doing wonderful, and thank you for having me today.
Thank you so much. So you are an entrepreneur.
Oh, yes.
A business owner.
Yes.
A restaurateur.
Yes.
What got you into all of this? Can you tell me just a little bit about yourself that people may not know?
So my background is marketing, and the family business pulled me in about 24 years ago. My grandmother started Minnie's Uptown Restaurant in 1986. And I started my cooking years there. So I started frying the chicken at Minnie's, and I guess I was quite talented at frying chicken and acquired the name The Chicken Lady. When customers would see me outside of the restaurant, they would be like, hey, it's the Chicken Lady. And it just kind of stuck. So I started in the food world at Minnie's, and then have just built on to what I knew, which was fried chicken.
Fried chicken. Okay, so tell me a little bit. Now, there's a history behind Minnie's and your grandmother opening that, correct?
Yes. So my grandmother, she worked for as a hostess for churches when she was younger, but she always wanted to have her own restaurant. So she decided that she was going to take a leap in 1986 and open her own restaurant. And at the time where Minnie's is now, it was not a nice developed area. She'll tell you stories of the drug dealers that were in the area and the prostitution, and that she had to, like, I don't want to say shoo away, but she wanted her customers to feel safe, and it was not a safe part of town at the time.
Absolutely.
And so you can ask my grandmother to this day, was she part of the revitalization of the downtown area? And she is going to tell you, yes, absolutely. She went there when no one else was going there.
So she's the heart of the revitalization of that area.
She was outside with her broom shooing people away so her customers could eat.
Well, that is awesome. So I feel like she must have been feisty, and that feistiness may have went down a couple of generations,
Oh,
too.
yes, absolutely.
So
Minnie will stand her ground.
So how did you, I guess technically you're not broken away, but you split and now you do your own thing as well, correct?
Kind of, sort of. I just built on to what I knew. So as I stated, I got the name Chicken Lady from frying the chicken at Minnie's. And then the chicken started winning so many awards that people started really noticing Minnie's, and we became, today Minnie's is an iconic restaurant. Someone called it the Meat and Three Institution the other day. Because it's still going strong for over 36 years now. But starting with frying chicken, being called the Chicken Lady, I had a dream that I wanted to put our products into the grocery store. And my family was like, what? What are you talking about? So I just had this dream that I wanted to do it. And at the time, I was in a relationship. And the relationship kind of went south. And I'll never forget this, but he told me that he was disenfranchised with this strong, independent woman.
What? My head just spun, you guys. What?
Yes. And so I had always kind of prided myself on being strong and independent, and he took something that I was proud of and turned it into a negative. And so being the woman I am, I was like, you thought I was strong and independent before, you just watched this. So that was the moment where whatever it took for me to get these products on the market and in the grocery stores, I was going to do it. And I had no idea how to do that. I just had a vision that I wanted to do it. And I had told this man about that. So you better believe that feisty side of me took over.
Yes, like a bull in a china shop. She just went after what she was going for and succeeded, you guys. Don't ever let somebody tell you that you're too much for them. You know, he was making it out like you were too much. Tell me one more time exactly how he said this.
So he was disenfranchised.
I'm making a note, you guys.
Disenfranchised with the strong, independent woman.
Did any part of you almost fold and make yourself smaller for him?
No. That lit a fire within me that I was just pissed.
Yes, I love it. So what was the next move after that?
So the next move right after that was I went home and started another company because I knew I had to start another company to get this process rolling. So as I'm developing this new company, and I was like, I have no idea what to name this. Yeah. And I was like, well, everyone calls me the Chicken Lady, so why not just name this Chicken Lady LLC?
Oh my goodness, I love it.
So that's where it started.
Chicken Lady LLC. Now I have to tell you, I have a personal story connected to you because my fiance, he came down here when he was 19. He's from upstate New York. And he joined the military, so of course basic training was here. Mm-hmm. And when he had his basic training here, of course, the family all went out and they ended up going to Minnie's. And we'll just go ahead and call her my mother-in-law. Hi, Kathy, if you ever hear this. Well, she's in Arizona, but anytime that she comes here now, we go to Minnie's.
Oh, wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Minnie's is definitely the place for making memories.
Absolutely. And now, of course, we're going to have to go to the Coop, too.
Yes. Absolutely.
So, all right. So that was your next move. How's everything going in the restaurant industry right now?
So through the pandemic, it was a roller coaster. Everything isn't always peaches and cream. So at the beginning of the pandemic, so we'll take Minnie's, for example. Mm-hmm. Minnie's would do around $5,000 a day in sales from 11 to 2:30. Mm-hmm. Like, it's an iconic place.
Yeah.
So when you go from those numbers, which is a very profitable business, when the pandemic hit, because Minnie's was such a social place, my numbers went to about $400 a day.
What?
So when you go from sales of $5,000 a day to $400 a day, you better figure things out quickly or you're about to lose everything. So I knew that my companies may be in trouble. And at the time, I had a very nice lifestyle. I had a huge loft downtown. I had a BMW M6 at the time, which those of you that are car people, you'll know that type of car. And I knew that I had to decrease my lifestyle quickly. So I went from a really nice salary to as low as I could. I got rid of the big loft. I moved into a small apartment. The sports cars were gone. The lifestyle was gone. Everything was gone because I knew that it would make no sense if I had a nice lifestyle and then lost all of my companies.
Yes.
So I transitioned to live the lowest of means that I have in years, so that the companies would survive. And we made it through.
So what do you think is that driving force inside of you? Because so many people would probably just hold on to the bittersweet end of trying to maintain that lifestyle. So
my employees are more important to me than my lifestyle. Knowing that I had employees that wanted to keep their jobs, they wanted to make it through. Like, everything was unknown then, and the ones who wanted to work, I wanted to make sure that they were still able to work.
Wow, that's awesome. Were there any other ways that it was affecting you guys other than customers? I mean, did you lose many employees at all during that time that just didn't want to risk being at work during that?
There were some of the employees that were with me that were older. We just didn't want to risk their health because they were the most susceptible at the time to COVID, as we were learning in the beginning. But I had to change the entire way that my companies were set up. It was, you went from a dining room full of people, 192 people seating at Minnie's, to no one's allowed to sit inside and eat. So everything became to go and curbside service. And one thing about the Coop restaurant when I started it is I had automatically built-in curbside service. So I was ahead of the curve because I already had all of those systems going at the Coop. So there for a while, the Coop actually pulled Minnie's through the pandemic because its numbers just sunk to almost nothing. And then the entire downtown area was closed. No one was working. So Minnie's sales suffered quite a bit.
And has that changed this year in 2023?
So Minnie's, the sales at Minnie's are probably, I don't know, 3,000-4,000 a day now. I can't necessarily say that they're going to be the same as they were pre-pandemic because there's just not the same hustle and bustle out as there was pre-pandemic. But now we're also hitting a growth spurt where we have a lot of new restaurants opening in the area. So, like, everything balances out. You just go with the flow.
Absolutely. And when I used to frequent Minnie's was when I worked for the police department. I was in dispatch for years.
Oh, wow.
And I know a lot of people with the PD had that. Do you see a lot of that, a lot of law enforcement in there still?
Yes.
Who's kind of your bread and butter? If you wanted to give some shout outs to anyone in that area.
You know, the Muskogee County Sheriff's Department has always been huge supporters of Minnie's. The police department is always in Minnie's. All of your judges, your lawyers, the nurses from the hospital, the doctors, all of your construction companies throughout town. One thing I just love about Minnie's is a melting pot. You will see everyone in there, and everyone is just there for the love of good country food.
For the love of that chicken. That chicken.
Fried chicken brings people together.
Yes, it does. So where do you see yourself pivoting these days? Or do you have any plans of, what you want to bring on, what you want to take away?
So, let's see. So we have the Chicken Ladies Coop restaurant going, which I would like to build into a full franchise, and it's well on its way. And then we've launched the Rolling Coop food truck, which is already extremely successful. And that is just the way to get the food out to the masses that aren't coming in. So the food truck is rolling, and then I have another little project that I still can't announce just yet, but there's I can't wait to tell about this project, but it's underway.
There are some big things coming.
Yes.
So if someone wanted to have your food truck out at an event, is that how you do it? Do you?
Oh, absolutely. So the food truck will roll out to large events. Per Muskogee County, we just have to have a restroom accessibility. But it's scheduled for birthday parties. So like if you have an adult birthday party or a child's birthday party and you just want us to pull up with the music and the chicken sandwiches and the cake and ice cream so you don't really have to do a lot, just book us. That's all it is. So we go out for birthday parties. The food truck rolls for wedding receptions because everyone when they're having the drinks and everything's having a good time. Everyone loves the whole food truck scene for weddings. And then like the large industry, we pull up out there so that those employees can just run outside and get some great food while on their break. So it's different.
Is there a minimum number of patrons that you would need to feel like it had been a successful food truck day?
So basically it comes down to what we can do in sales. So typically if we're not going to do around $250, $300 in sales, it's really not worth our time, because with the food truck, you have two people that you're paying a nice wage to. You have all of the maintenance that goes along with the truck, all of the licensing that goes along with the truck, your propane that you have to put on your truck, and then your food, of course. Yeah. So, they cost a little bit to run. It costs me around $35 to $50 an hour just to run the truck. So I at least have to, have $200 coming in to make it worth our while for our staff to go out to a facility.
Okay. So what about for you personally? What do you want people to know of the culture of your businesses? Or do you understand what I'm trying to ask? What do you want people to feel like when they work for you?
When they work for me, so my staff, I want them to know that they are a huge part in building the company. So I pay as much as I can. So I'm not going to say that, we're a fast casual. So the person that you see working on the front line, serving the food and bringing you out, that person starts at around $12.50 an hour plus tips. So that person I have on the front line is averaging around $22 an hour, just front service. And being, smaller, we're not a little bitty tiny business, but we're not a huge conglomerate. So we pay as much as we can so that people will know that they're valued for their efforts, and I think that's the key to longevity in business, is paying your employees as much as you can pay them.
Absolutely.
So that they feel appreciated.
Yes. I'm glad that you see that. A lot of people, they just want to leave it at minimum wage, and some people don't even tip out their staff at the end of the day. I'm just learning so many crazy things. So that's just amazing to hear from you.
I just know if my staff is happy, I'm going to have lower turnover. That helps me as a company because customers want to recognize the face when if they're repeat customers, they want to recognize the face when they go in, and they want to be treated kind of like family when they walk in the door. If I'm known somewhere and they'll know kind of like what my order is and greet me with, hey, chicken lady, or hey, Melinda, that's where I want to eat.
Yeah.
So hospitality is everything for me. And if I'm treating my employees well, they're going to show hospitality towards my customers.
Absolutely. So what would you say, though, because one thing that people talk about a lot these days is how it is hard to find good customer service anywhere. So when somebody comes in with that mindset, what would your message be to them in how your customer is treating your employee?
So I've been in this business a long time, 24 years now, 25 years. And I will say the customer has now, I'm not going to say all because there's the world is kind, but the percentage of people who are rude to staff now is increasing dramatically.
Yes.
And basically, if my staff has someone that they can't deal with, they have to just get management involved, because things can just escalate so quickly now.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like it the way that it is now, but management has to get involved quickly, and I had to set it up where there's just a certain script that has to be said so that nothing inappropriate is said if someone is kind of fearful in a conversation.
Yeah.
Because some people are quite intimidating and have scared the staff before.
Wow.
So there's like a script that's in place so that they know exactly what to say, then to bring in management, and then if it goes beyond that, we have to take the next measures as needed.
Okay.
And that has had to take place within these past couple of years.
Goodness. That's something, so through my other radio show and podcast, the Dining for Charities, I'd bring that up a lot, that we as the customers, we need to show more grace to employees, because in every industry, it's not just in the restaurant industry. I mean, employees are hard to find in the first place, and then sometimes you're so short-staffed because it takes a while to find them, train them, do all of those things. So if it takes just a little bit longer, I try to take the approach that I'm still thankful that somebody's showing up, somebody's cooking it, somebody's doing all the things, and I don't have to do it. So
absolutely,
have grace and tip well.
Absolutely.
That's my 2 cents. So what's something that I haven't asked you about the industry, your background related to the restaurants, those types of things?
So my background is marketing. I came from the world of insurance and marketing. So marketing was just my passion, and I had twins, and I was in the corporate world when they were young, and my mother was like, you really need to have stability for the boys, and so she wanted me to kind of give up my corporate world, which was me traveling all over the United States, to be at home more, in which I made the decision for my kids that they did need me home. So I transitioned from that world into the restaurant world, and that's where it started. And then that Cornell marketing brain of mine takes minis, and it's like, oh my goodness, we can do this, and this. And then it just, minis grew to massive daily sales.
I love it. And actually, your marketing ability is why we're sitting down right now. The pictures if you guys are not following her on social media, will you tell them exactly how to find your pages on social media? Because the pictures will have you drooling and running to go get some chicken.
Oh my goodness. So social media, you can find me on Facebook, Melinda Weeks Newton. That's a fun page because you get the personal side of me and the business side. And then for the Chicken Lady's Coop restaurant on Facebook. And then for Instagram, I am the official Chicken Lady.
Oh, nice.
So, official Chicken Lady on Instagram. And that has a little bit of everything. I'll post a little bit of personal, a little bit of the Chicken Lady's Coop, a little bit of minis, a little bit of the food truck. And then for the food truck, it's the Rolling Coop. It's the Rolling Coop on Facebook, the Rolling Coop on Instagram. And then Minis, Minis is the same. Minis Uptown on Facebook and Minis Uptown on Instagram.
Okay, I don't even know if I should ask this, but I'm gonna. Do you do all that by yourself?
I do. And
oh my goodness. Like, that is a lot. I have trouble. I'm a social media girl in a social media world, and I am nowhere near your talent of actually putting the content up once I've made the content.
So my employees are very involved in that because I can't be at all places at one time. So if they have a dish that they're proud of or a cake that they want to show, they will actually take the pictures and the videos for me, send it to me, and then I load it onto social media. But it's like I said, my background was marketing. So that cute little chicken lady that you see, that's a logo, she's built from the ground up. So I hired a company and I was like, look, I need a logo that's going to be this like sexy pinup looking chicken that looks like she can cook really good. And they're like, what? So I was like, yeah, so that was my vision for Chicken Lady. And the first company, they fired me. And I was like, well, that didn't work out. So then I started asking my sons and my friends, and my son was like, why don't you get a tattoo artist to draw that up for you? I'm like, that is so brilliant. So then I reached out to my friends who had tattoos, ink, and they're like, oh, yeah. So they connected me with an illustration artist out of Orlando, Florida, and working with her, we developed the Chicken Lady. And there's so much that goes into that logo that people don't realize, like the color of the chicken, the color of the hair. She couldn't have blue eyes because we didn't want her to look like Tweety Bird. And then she needed cleavage, but not too much cleavage. I mean, chickens have breasts, guys. And then her apron not being too short, and like all of the color schemes. So there was a lot that went into that little girl.
Wow. How long would you say it took it to be perfect?
Probably 3 or 4 months.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I might get why they fired you at first.
It was, yeah, I mean,
kidding.
Her hair had to be a certain way, and yeah, there was a lot that went into that little sexy chicken lady.
Make sure y'all go check out the little sexy chicken lady and really break down all the different elements to it, because that was a labor of love, and I'm really glad it came together perfectly for you.
Yes.
Yay. Well, okay. Well, I'm just going to try to use you as a guidepost. When I see you make a post, it needs to remind me to start making my posts.
Oh, you're going to be busy.
Yeah. I take it back. All right. So how about you as a person? What do you want folks to know about you?
Oh, my
just
goodness.
Melinda, not the chicken lady. Because you have to, I'm sure you sometimes need to just break away from that world if you're able to, don't you?
I really don't.
Really?
I really don't. I'm in build mode right now. So, like I was talking with some of my friends. So I'm single, and I've been single for a while. I don't really date that much. I try, but it's just dating versus the projects that I'm working on. The projects are just going to take priority right now. Because financially, some of them can ruin me. Dating's not going to financially ruin me.
That's right.
Well, I suppose it could. I had to ask my spouse to move out of that lovely home back into a small apartment just so that I could catapult the businesses further.
Yeah. It's got to be the right man. So if you're the right one out there that can handle travel, super, super busy woman, and would never become disenfranchised with a strong, independent woman, then maybe find her on Facebook. Well,
that's funny.
We have about 20 seconds left. So do you have any last word?
Any last word? So I was watching Barbara Corcoran this morning, and she said, even if you don't know everything about it, jump in anyways. So I'm about to jump in anyways.
Ooh, splash. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Until next time, this was Raven from Raven in Real Life.